In every era of history, societies reach moments when progress moves faster than wisdom. Technology advances, communication accelerates, and opportunities multiply, yet clarity of direction often weakens. The modern world appears full of movement and possibility, but beneath this movement lies a quiet tension, a tension between comfort and responsibility, speed and patience, recognition and true value. These tensions are not unique to the present. More than 2,000 years ago, the philosopher Confucius lived during a time of political instability and social disorder known as the Spring and Autumn period. Kingdoms competed for power, leaders pursued personal gain, and communities struggled with distrust. From this environment emerged a philosophy not centered on power or wealth, but on discipline, character, and responsibility. Many of the modern problems often discussed today share similarities with those observed in Confucius's time. One of the most visible among them is distraction. Attention has become fragmented into small intervals consumed by entertainment, rapid messages, and endless streams of information. The human mind, once trained to reflect deeply, now faces constant interruption. Productivity declines not because ability has disappeared, but because concentration has weakened. Confucius viewed focus as a form of respect for learning, for time, and for self-development. In his teachings, later recorded in the Analects, learning was described as a disciplined process requiring repetition and patience. Without sustained attention, knowledge remains shallow, and potential remains unrealized. Another defining challenge of modern life is the expectation of immediate results. Images of success appear everywhere, often detached from the effort that produced them. Achievement is presented as sudden and effortless, creating unrealistic expectations about progress. Yet historical observation repeatedly demonstrates that meaningful achievement follows patterns of slow improvement. Confucius emphasized that mastery is not the result of momentary enthusiasm but of consistent effort. This principle challenges the widespread pursuit of shortcuts. When patience disappears, frustration increases. When patience returns, confidence gradually strengthens. Fear of failure also shapes behavior in the modern era. Mistakes are frequently interpreted as signs of inadequacy rather than necessary stages of learning. Public visibility intensifies this fear, especially when errors are exposed to wide audiences. Such conditions encourage hesitation and discourage experimentation. Confucius interpreted failure differently. In his philosophy, the true mistake was not making an error, but refusing to correct it. Errors were considered instructors, guiding improvement through reflection and adjustment. This perspective transforms failure from a barrier into a mechanism of growth. Equally significant is the weakening of meaningful relationships. Communication occurs constantly, yet depth of connection often decreases. Words travel quickly, but understanding does not always follow. Trust weakens when commitments are treated casually or promises are easily abandoned. Confucius considered relationships to be the foundation of stable societies. Respect, loyalty, and honesty were not abstract ideals but practical behaviors repeated daily. Communities strengthened when individuals acted with reliability, and cooperation increased when mutual respect became habitual. Modern environments also encourage comparison. Exposure to carefully selected examples of success creates unrealistic standards. Individuals measure progress against appearances rather than reality. This habit produces dissatisfaction and discouragement. Confucius warned against evaluating worth through comparison with others. He encouraged self-reflection instead. Improvement, in his philosophy, was measured against previous effort rather than external competition. This approach allowed growth to occur without jealousy and ambition to develop without resentment. Leadership represents another area deeply influenced by character. In many modern systems, leadership is associated with authority, titles, or influence. Yet authority without integrity rarely produces lasting respect. Confucius described leadership as a responsibility rather than a privilege. Effective leaders demonstrated discipline before demanding it from others. They cultivated fairness before enforcing rules. Leadership rooted in example generated trust, while leadership rooted in fear generated resistance. This principle extends beyond political systems and applies to institutions, organizations, and everyday responsibilities. Responsibility itself often appears misunderstood in contemporary society. It is sometimes viewed as limitation rather than strength. Convenience reduces effort, and efficiency minimizes struggle. While comfort provides advantages, excessive comfort weakens resilience. Confucius viewed responsibility as a path to dignity. Accepting responsibility strengthened independence, while avoiding responsibility created dependency. This relationship between effort and strength remains visible across disciplines, from education to professional development. Another defining tension concerns the relationship between knowledge and wisdom. Information is widely available, yet understanding does not always deepen. Memorization often replaces reflection, and speed replaces thoughtful consideration. Confucius distinguished clearly between knowing facts and applying them responsibly. Knowledge without reflection risked producing poor judgment, while reflection transformed knowledge into wisdom. This distinction highlights the necessity of deliberate thinking in environments dominated by rapid consumption. Ethical uncertainty further complicates modern life. Conflicting opinions circulate continuously, creating difficulty in identifying reliable standards. Flexibility in values sometimes becomes confusion rather than adaptability. Confucius addressed this challenge through the concept of virtue. Virtue, in his philosophy, was demonstrated through honesty, fairness, and consistency in daily behavior. Ethical stability did not emerge through occasional declarations but through repeated action. Trust developed gradually when individuals consistently aligned behavior with principle. Historical observation also reveals that Confucius himself encountered repeated rejection. Many leaders ignored his ideas because they sought immediate advantage rather than long-term stability. Yet persistence defined his character. He continued teaching despite opposition, believing that integrity possessed enduring strength. The survival of his philosophy across centuries illustrates that principles grounded in character outlast temporary trends. The interaction between ambition and responsibility provides further insight into contemporary challenges. Ambition drives progress, yet ambition detached from responsibility creates imbalance. When recognition becomes the primary objective, substance weakens. Confucius proposed a different model, ambition directed toward contribution rather than visibility. Achievement gained through service created lasting value, while achievement gained solely for recognition often proved temporary. Time management represents another discipline central to personal growth. In environments where schedules become crowded, priorities may be neglected. Confucius emphasized routine as a stabilizing force. Consistent habits, repeated daily, produced measurable improvement over time. Sudden bursts of effort rarely produced lasting results. Regular practice transformed intention into achievement. Emotional balance also played a significant role in his philosophy. Rapid change increases stress, uncertainty, and reaction. Emotional extremes produce impulsive decisions and unstable outcomes. Confucius advocated moderation, not suppression of emotion, but regulation of response. Stability within individuals produced stability within communities. Calm reflection allowed problems to be addressed with clarity rather than urgency. Moral courage remains essential in times of uncertainty. Situations frequently arise in which convenience conflicts with integrity. Temporary advantage may appear attractive, yet long-term consequences often follow. Confucius described courage not as aggression, but as commitment to correctness despite difficulty. Character revealed itself during moments of pressure rather than comfort. Across centuries, the persistence of Confucian teachings demonstrates the durability of disciplined character. Societies evolve, technologies transform, and environments shift, yet human behavior remains governed by similar principles. Distraction weakens focus. Impatience disrupts progress. Neglect of relationships damages trust. Avoidance of responsibility reduces strength. These patterns repeat regardless of era. The enduring relevance of Confucian philosophy lies in its simplicity. It does not rely on complex theories or dramatic transformation. Instead, it emphasizes repetition of constructive actions, learning daily, speaking honestly, acting responsibly, and reflecting regularly. Small improvements accumulate into significant change. Stability emerges gradually, built through routine rather than impulse. In an age defined by speed, the lessons drawn from Confucian thought emphasize patience. In an era of comparison, they emphasize self-reflection. In environments dominated by convenience, they emphasize responsibility. These principles remain practical because they address patterns of behavior rather than temporary conditions. The long-term influence of Confucian philosophy illustrates a fundamental reality: lasting progress begins not with technology or status, but with disciplined character.